up, guys? Welcome back to all of the reviews. Today I'm doing another Netflix review. As you could tell by the title, you guys seem to like these Netflix reviews. They usually get like a lot more views than my other videos, but I really wanted to sit down and review Broken for you guys because I started watching it like a week ago or so, and in this video I'm just going to be reviewing the first 2 episodes because they are very long, like hour-long episodes, and so I haven't even gotten through the whole series yet. I watched the 3rd episode, but I didn't really get too much out of that. It was interesting to watch, but in the next video I'm probably going to be reviewing like the 4th and 5th episode, if there is a 5th episode, I don't even know. But I saw the 4th one was about like plastic and stuff like that, so I had to stop and focus and watching that one later. But today we're going to be reviewing the 2 first episodes, and I took a whole bunch of notes in my phone over this because I clicked on that show thinking like, I'll just like listen to it as I go to bed, or like just like a background noise show. You know, does anyone else have those? But then I started listening to it, and I was like, okay, this is way more interesting than what I was prepared for. So I took a whole bunch of notes in my phone about this because the first episode is about counterfeit cosmetics, and I did not even realize that this was a thing. Like I've never heard of this concept, and this made me think of that show. What is that show called on Netflix about the avocados? Hold on. What's that show called? Rotten. Okay, this is what that reminded me of. Like, I watched a little bit of Rotten, and it was about like the whole war on avocados. Like there's like a whole war happening on avocados, like with cartels and gangs and stuff. And I was like, oh my god, okay. People don't know this stuff. I did not know this. The whole thing about counterfeit cosmetics, I've never realized that this was such a big problem. And I've never really, it makes sense now that I think about it and how big the industry of cosmetics has gotten and how serious it is these days. But I've never thought that there'd be people out there doing something like this. So I'm going to talk about like some of the information that they talked about in the episode. And the first thing that really stuck out to me was the carcinogens that are found in fake makeup and counterfeit makeup. I am a firefighter, or at least I try and be anyways, on our local fire department. And one thing that we have to learn about and take a lot of caution about is carcinogens. Okay, that can cause cancer, have serious health effects, are carcinogens that are found in materials of burning houses and burning structures, and that are extremely toxic, which is why we have to wear air masks over our face so we're not breathing that. That's found in this makeup that you're putting on your face, in your eyes. I was blown away by that. And to go along with that, there are literally cosmetic chemists. Like my dad is a chemist. He's a chemist at one of the major colleges here in the state. And I've never heard of a cosmetic chemist specifically for makeup, because that's how seriously they take this stuff. Because there's carcinogens and toxic chemicals found in the makeup that they have to test it. And to go along with that, there is very little cosmetic ingredient safety regulated in the US. So that's why they're testing these things, because these counterfeit cosmetics have all these carcinogens and horrible chemicals in them for you, that they have to test it because the United States doesn't regulate it. It's like the same thing with the FDA on how much of like chemicals and stuff like that is allowed in our processed foods. That's like banned in 30 countries. The people on the show talked about counterfeit cosmetics containing carcinogens, harmful bacteria, chemicals, super glue, fecal and urinary matter, and staph infections. So these this makeup is developed and made in such disgusting conditions that it literally is giving people staph infections, skin conditions. There was the girl on the show that purchased a Kylie lip kit and put it on her lips, and her lips stuck together. So after doing research, she figured out that she had bought a counterfeit product with super glue in it that they used to kind of create the consistency of lipstick that literally glued her mouth shut. And she like damaged all the skin on her lips because she was trying to scrub it off. Oh, most of the counterfeit cosmetics that they talked about in the show you can buy at like the mall kiosks, or they talked about, ooh, what was it? I'm trying to think of the Santee Valley, I think was what they called it, in LA, like a whole strip mall. It's kind of like a ped mall of basically all counterfeit products, just high, fast fashion, fast makeup products that are big right now. All kinds of kiosks and little shops filled with counterfeit makeup. Oh, what really shocked me was when they said that there are 10,000, they were talking about the Santee Valley Ped Mall, that there are 10,000 officers on the LA Police Department, and two people are assigned to counterfeit goods. Out of 10,000 officers, two people are assigned to handle the counterfeit goods. If it's such a big problem, like what they're describing in this show, how can you assign 2 people? That is insane. After they did this raid on Santee Valley, they uncovered $700,000 in evidence. $700,000. That's almost $1 million in counterfeit makeup, fake makeup. And not only that, when after they did this and were showing like the warehouse that they keep the counterfeit evidence in, they were showing counterfeit makeup, counterfeit pharmaceutical drugs, counterfeit airbags. Like they were just showing all the counterfeit stuff that they find, and I was like, why would anyone want to make counterfeit airbags? Okay, maybe there's an industry I don't know about, but what? Counterfeit handbags, purses, like all kinds of stuff. Basically anything that has a big name brand, they will make a counterfeit version of it. Sellers will also buy fake reviews to boost their products on online sites. Now, this doesn't surprise me. I always kind of assumed that with things that they really want to sell on these marketplace sites, that they would just go in under different accounts and leave fake reviews, but they actually buy fake reviews. Like they pay people to write fake reviews about their products to boost their viewing. So the large shipments of these cosmetics that they find, so some of them, they'll like come by the semi-loads. There's so much counterfeit makeup that they're literally coming in by the semi-loads, by palletfuls, and they now have to go under inspection and testing and test all this makeup. So if they take like a few pallets off of like makeup pallets off of a big shipment and they test them and they come back like bad or unsafe, then they have to like confiscate the whole shipment. And so it's impossible really for them to screen everything. So what they were talking about with the shipments is that there's such an unbelievable amount of counterfeit makeup that they can't keep up with it. Towards the end of the show, they were saying that the confiscation or the finding of the counterfeit makeup is up by like 25% or something like that, but it's still like a drop in the bucket because there's such an unbelievable amount of counterfeit makeup being shipped and sold. It's such a large mass of makeup that they can't even make a dent in it. So it's basically, it's impossible to screen the millions of packages that are going through the mail system every day. So they try and do their best by, like, with these large shipments in places like the Santee Valley in LA, or like these big marketplaces, they try and do the testing and screening, but it's like impossible to the point because there's such a large volume of it. So what I found very interesting was that they went to, I think it was China, and went to some of these malls, and they're literally just stores full, like cram-packed in makeup and beauty products and cosmetics, and like 90% of it, if probably more than that, like I don't know because I haven't been there, but nearly all of it is counterfeit products. And he was like an undercover type of officer and went in and asked some of the owners or people like working in the store if they could get counterfeit versions made of this makeup that I brought in, and some of them would say yes, and that they could go to like the 4th floor and talk to this guy, because it's such a well-known thing that all of it is counterfeited. Like, all the employees are well aware that it's counterfeit, but I guess nobody cares. It's just money. So I just found this super interesting because I don't know how many people know about this. I am not a beauty guru by any means. I think we all know that by now, but I have followed the beauty industry pretty closely. That's kind of how I really found YouTube. And I think most of us have really found YouTube through the beauty community and how much that it has grown and boomed in the last, I don't know, 5 years or so. And this episode was very, very fascinating because I'm not opposed to buying makeup online. Like, after watching this episode, probably won't do that, but before I saw this information, I would buy makeup online, like no big deal. And I know Tati Westbrook recently came out with a video a week or so ago addressing her recent makeup launch because she just released her own brand of makeup, and she had to disclaim in her video that her makeup is only sold on her website. She doesn't sell to any other websites. So if you are looking at buying her makeup from eBay or I think AliExpress was a website she put on there, don't buy it because none of it's real. All the makeup is only sold on her website. So after watching this, I'm super skeptical of buying makeup online now. I will probably only get it from like those specific websites, even though it's going to be super expensive. But obviously cheap makeup is cheap product. So really, really fascinating information. I'm glad that I saw this video, and I'm glad that Netflix is putting it out there for people to realize and to be safe, because it's such a huge industry that, I mean, people don't care. People will buy it cheap if they can get it cheap. And I will say, being the environmentalist green person that I try and be, it really did make me sad seeing all of like the counterfeit makeup that they were confiscating, and the pallets and pallets of shipment that they were bringing off these semis to test, and so much of it came back negative. I can't help but wonder what happens to that counterfeit makeup. Like, what do they do with it? Do they throw it in the trash? I'm sure they have to like properly discard of it somehow. I don't know how that works. But I would really like to know what they do with it, because it just makes me it would make me very, very sad if it was all going in the trash. Or like to landfills. But I don't know how police have to dispose of their evidence. So if you guys know, let me know down below, because I am genuinely curious. But I can't help but wonder how much waste is created on the planet from, I mean, regular makeup is bad enough, but all this counterfeit makeup that can't be sold. It's just being created, and then so much of it's being thrown away. Or like people buying these products, realizing that they're junk, that they're gluing your lips together, and then having to throw the products away. Ugh. I don't even want to know. I don't know if I want to know, because it'll probably just make me sad. But anyways, I'm really glad that this information was put on Netflix for people to know about and to discuss. So I want to talk a little bit about the second episode, which was about vaping. And I didn't take near as many notes on this episode, but it was very fascinating as well because I am a Gen X. So my generation is the biggest that's been affected by vaping. And I do not vape. I did it one time ever, because I have a friend that smokes and she has been trying to get off of smoking cigarettes, and vaping has always helped her. So she had a vape, like, what do you even call them? I mean, in the show they call them e-cigarettes, but she just had like a vape pod thing in her car one day, and she said that she had like maple or like maple syrup and waffle flavor, like juice in it. So I took a puff of it to see like what it would taste like. And first of all, I've never smoked a single day in my entire life, so I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, but I just like coughed the shit, like I thought I was gonna cough my lung out, and never did that again. So I don't vape, I don't have experience with it, so I don't really know what it's like. But this episode kind of argued the idea that this vaping is targeted towards teenagers, and I thought it was really cool that they had like one of the co-founders of Juul on the show to talk about his side and kind of what him as the owner kind of thought about all the things that were blowing up against Juul. The rise in teen e-cigarette use in the last year is unprecedented in history. So obviously we've never had the mass amount of small, convenient, stylish e-cigarettes in history before, but e-cigarettes have been around for a long time. Like, they're not new, but I think the way that they've been marketed and the new designs are very new and very attractive to people my age. And that's one thing that they were talking about in that episode, was the design of Juul specifically. It's just like, I'll put a picture here somewhere of what they look like, and they're very sleek, technology looking, modern looking e-cigarettes that are small. You can fit them like in your pocket, easily in your bag. Girls, she said, were putting them in their bras. Super easy and discreet to hide. So they're much more attractive to people in my generation because they look very much like a sleek iPhone or something like that. They're just more attractive looking. 22,000 e-liquid brands worldwide. So after like the booming of the e-cigarette trend, it seems like a lot of new brands have come out to the market. Okay, one thing that was extremely surprising to me was, first of all, I thought it was really cool that they had the girls on there in high school kind of talking about vaping in their environment, because when I was in high school, which was not that long ago, only a couple years ago, vaping was not that big of a thing. Like, some people did it, but a lot of people didn't. And I feel like just in the last couple years, it's gotten huge, like way out of control. And I know now that the kids in high school here do it a lot, and there's a lot more kids that do it. But the way that they were talking about on, hold on, I just lost my, okay, I just accidentally deleted it, but I got it here. What really, really was shocking to me, because it's always been marketed that like the e-cigarettes and the vaping is better for you than like smoking cigarettes, and that there's not as much nicotine in it and it's better for your lungs. And I'm sure that it is better for your lungs, but when they were talking about the nicotine statistics, I was super shocked, because they tested that the amount of nicotine in one Juul pod, which is like a little tiny pod that you put in the e-cigarette, One Juul pod has the equivalent of nicotine to 20 cigarettes. There's that much nicotine in that little pod as 20 cigarettes. Some teenagers, like the girl that was on the show, said that she goes through about 1 pod a day. 1 pod a day. So she's basically smoking as much nicotine as she would for 20 cigarettes. That's insane. Like, when they were talking about like some of the brands not wanting to be like addictive, or not thinking that they're as addictive as cigarettes are, Juul has 20 times the amount of nicotine in a pod than a cigarette. Like, and you're telling me you're not trying to addict people when you're putting that much nicotine in it? And the girl said that some of her friends will go through like 5 pods a week, and they're like $20 or $25. Holy crap. Like, no wonder that they can't stop, because they're probably not aware of how much nicotine is going into the pods. I mean, teenagers don't freaking care. Like, I was in high school not long ago, and teenagers don't freaking care. They care if it's fun, if it looks cool, and it tastes good. That's what they give a shit about. They don't care about the nicotine content in it. The more you do it, the longer you can go between puffs to get a buzz. So that's what the one girl was talking about, was that her first time doing it, she took a puff and like, or what is, they call it ripping, like they rip their Juul, and she coughed a lot, and it wasn't very good the first time she did it, but then she just did it a few more times and she got like a buzz from it. So I don't know what that's like, but I get what she's saying. If you get this buzz and like, almost like, to me, being a non-substance user, it almost sounds like relation to getting high, like kind of how you get a high, like they're getting a buzz from the cigarettes or the e-cigarettes. A lot of public worry about the nicotine levels creating a gateway addiction. So that was one thing they were kind of talking about, was the gateway of nicotine. If teenagers are teaching themselves to abuse one substance so early in their life, they could go on to abusing other substances. So if they're abusing nicotine so early on, then it could create like a gateway, I guess. I don't know, I don't vape, so I wouldn't know if it's a gateway or not, but that was one of the arguments that they were addressing. High levels of lead and manganese were found during the testing of e-cigarettes, which can cause IQ problems in young people and other brain and cognitive issues. So I thought it was really cool how they had the chemists testing a whole bunch of different e-liquids, and that was one of the things that they found, because when they were talking about how the e-cigarettes are made, they're made with like a metal coil inside, and that's what heats up the liquid. And they wanted to test to see if like the coil was putting off metals into the liquid, which you're breathing straight into your lungs. So they found high levels of lead and manganese, which I don't know what that is, but it sounds like a metal. They were talking about pregnancy issues as well. And obviously, I'm no expert at that, haven't had any kids, but it can cause pregnancy issues. Especially, I can imagine if you're breathing in high levels of lead and heavy metals and stuff, if you're pregnant, oof, that would not be good. But yeah, I think that both of these episodes were very good episodes to put out in the environment, especially with how many kids like my age and people in general watch Netflix. I think it was very useful, very good information, and I hope that they keep doing episodes like this and kind of finding the things that are wrong and corrupt in our society, because especially like the vaping thing, I don't vape, so like I've never like had the urge to research vaping or find out more information about vaping, because it's not something I do. It doesn't interest me. But knowing that information is very interesting to me, and hopefully I can relay that off to like some of my friends that might vape or have thought about vaping or are around it a lot. And I myself can protect myself from not being interested in it whatsoever. So I think both the episodes were very, very valuable information that need to be pushed out into the world and talked about and discussed, and not like hush hush, because like, why? I mean, the society that we live in today is corrupt on so many levels that it's just sad and depressing to have to think about. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. This is why I wanted to do only 2 episodes in a video, because I'm already at like almost 30 minutes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think about it down below. If you've watched these episodes, if you want to, definitely go watch them. Full of great information. And I will see you in the next one where we talk about some of the later episodes. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!